Welcome to the Weekly Roar, coming live from the Lion's Den, helping new managers become great leaders and awesome bosses. And now, here's your host, Greg Storch.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Lion's Den. This is the Weekly Roar. It's that time again for us to continue my latest series called Effective Thinking, Your Pathway to Success. Today, I'll be speaking about another skill that we can develop to help us become more effective thinkers. This one is cool because it deals with looking to our past to help propel us into our future. I'm going to tell you all about this way of thinking in just a second. But first, welcome everyone. I'm Greg Storch. I'm the owner of Lion Enterprise, a leadership development and coaching business, and the founder of a worldwide bartered coaching program called The Helping Hand. I'm a certified professional leadership coach and a certified leadership speaker and trainer. Now, last week, we came together in the Lion's Den and I spoke about the possibility thinking. Possibility thinking is when we open our perspective to entertain new possibilities that we haven't considered previously. I shared a few ways that possibility thinking helps us, and then I gave you 4 things you can start doing right away to help you get better at it. During this series, you should spend some time making an assessment of where you are with each of these thinking skills on a scale of 1 to 10. Once you make your assessment, think about what actions you need to take that will move you from where you currently rate yourself to just moving one more number closer to 10. Sometimes when I have clients do that, they aren't exactly sure what actions they need to take to move forward. So if you're like they are and you aren't sure what actions you might need to take, reach out to me and let's have a chat about how my coaching might be able to help you get unstuck. By the way, you can book a free 30-minute discovery session with me to find out what coaching is like and whether or not we could work together. It's like test driving a new car. The link to my schedule's right here below. Wait, did you get that? My bad. Here you go. Write this down. There you go. That's better. Okay, so just one last reminder before we get started on today's topic. If you weren't able to join us last Wednesday for the Weekly Roar, or if you just want to catch up and want to watch that session over again, you can access my free video resources on my website at lion-enterprise.com. Click on the Lion's Pride Library menu to find video number 118 for last week. There are already 2 volumes under that link, so while you're in the Lion's Pride Library, stick around and take a look. It's a free resource and it's a great way for you to get more of the roar. All right, it's go time, everybody. Today's episode's called How to Use Your Past to Improve Your Future. I talk about the power of reflection all the time. Reflection can be a powerful tool for our future success as long as we take the time to do it. And that can be difficult for a lot of people in today's fast-paced world. Everyone I know is always on the go. And COVID-19 hasn't changed the pace. It's just changed what it looks like. Instead of running the kids around to school and sports practice, we're now frantically trying to figure out new ways to deliver their education, how we're going to get social interaction, and even how we're going to run our own businesses. The pace hasn't slowed down, it just changed the way it looks. One of my mentors, John Maxwell, wrote in one of his books that experience isn't the best teacher, evaluated experience is. Well, how do we evaluate our experience? Well, simply reflection. Reflection gives us the ability to learn from our past mistakes and successes. It helps us identify things that are worth doing again and also the things we should avoid repeating. When we mentally visit our past situations, we give ourselves the opportunity to think with greater understanding. And that's why reflective thinking can contribute greatly to our success. Reflective thinking simply considers the larger context or meaning and the implications of an experience we've had or of an action we've taken. In other words, reflection doesn't just mean jotting down what you did or what you plan to do. It means considering why what you did or plan to do matters. It means exploring emotions and feelings and reactions. Think of reflection as exploring the so what instead of just the what. Reflective thinking is the awareness of our own knowledge, assumptions, and past experiences. As you know, our past learning and experience provide the context for our thoughts, and reflective thinking helps us continue to develop and evolve as we learn and respond to new experiences or new situations, new events, and even when we get new information. Really, this is the process where we interpret and evaluate our experiences, check that they make sense to us, and create meaning, justify actions, and solve problems. And it can also help with our future planning. Think of it like this. Reflective thinking is the real life application of the saying, we learn from failure, not from success. So you might be asking yourself right about now why reflective thinking is so important. Well, reflective thinking is important because it helps us make the right judgments without having to spend a lot of time analyzing and studying the current situation. The judgments we make have serious consequences in both our personal and our professional lives. So, understanding what makes a decision good or bad depends on our evaluation of those ideas. Reflective thinking begins by taking a step back, and that's an important part of any problem-solving technique. We have to put ourselves outside of the situation and consider all of the variables involved. Then you use your past experience to make plans or develop strategies that will create the desired outcome for your current situation. The greatest strength that we have when facing current challenges is when we aren't new to those situations, because we can use our past experience to help us predict the outcome of our decisions with a better chance of success. Now, there are several benefits to engaging in this type of thinking, and I want to share a few of them with you today. So, first of all, when we engage in reflective thinking, it gives us true perspective. When we engage in reflection, we have the ability to put our experiences into perspective. And it allows us to see things we may have missed in the moment that they were happening. And that may give us a greater appreciation for them. Here's an example of what I mean. When my children were born and I became a parent myself, I was finally able to recognize some of the sacrifices my own parents made because, well, as I faced those same sacrifices, it brought a different perspective to me. And that kind of perspective only comes when we engage in reflection. So it gives us true perspective. Another thing reflective thinking can give us is confidence. Yeah, reflective thinking can actually increase our confidence, especially when it comes to decision making. Here's what I mean. Think about a time when you made a snap decision. You know, a decision that you made without really thinking into it first. And after you made that decision, how many of you sat there and started to wonder if you did the right thing? Second guessed yourself. I can't count all the times that I've done that to myself. When we engage in reflective thinking, though, it can help us remove our feeling of doubt. And what's more, it can actually build our confidence for the next decision that we're going to have to make. See, once you've reflected on something, you get to skip steps in the decision process when you're faced with the same thing again. It's kind of a been there, done that mindset that helps us speed up time that we take when we're thinking about things. All of that helps us to begin to make decisions a bit quicker and with a lot more confidence, because when we reflect on our past experiences and apply those lessons, we can be confident that we are making the right decisions or doing the right things. Now, I talk about the big picture a lot, and today I want to mention it again in the context that reflective thinking gives us clarity of the big picture. When we engage in this type of thinking, we're able to put our ideas and experiences into context. Let me give you an example. Let's say you've been arguing a lot lately with someone who's special to you, and you're upset about the situation. If you reflect on the experience, it gives you the opportunity to explore your feelings and to think about some of the bigger picture ideas, like the future of that relationship, or your overall happiness, or what causes these arguments to begin with. Reflective thinking allows us to go back and look at what we've seen and done so we can better understand what happened, why it happened, and what things are actually our responsibility. Without engaging in reflective thinking, it can be harder to see the big picture in any situation. And then the last thing I want to mention here is that reflective thinking is what allows us to find value in our experiences. William Osler was a Canadian-born physician and one of the 4 founding professors of Johns Hopkins Hospital. This is what he said about valuable experiences. The value of experience is not in seeing much, but in seeing wisely. I love it. Our experiences alone are not what add value to our lives. What adds the value to us is the insight that we gain from those experiences. Reflective thinking helps us to turn those experiences into insight. Remember that an experience only gains value when it arms us with the ability to meet new experiences successfully. Engaging in reflective thinking helps us to do that. Now, I know many of you that tune into the Weekly Roar understand the value of reflection, but there are also many people out there who just don't engage in the art of reflection. And for those who don't, it could be holding them back from more than they actually know. If you want to start spending more time thinking reflectively, or if you just want to get better at doing what you're already doing, here are 4 things you can start doing right now that are going to help you along your reflective thinking journey. First of all, you have to make time to do it. So set aside time for reflection. It was Socrates who told us that the unexamined life was not worth living. But for a lot of people, reflection and self-examination isn't a big priority or a priority at all. I don't think people intentionally avoid self-reflection time these days. It's just that we're all so distracted. We're carrying app-filled smartphones in our pockets that provide constant stimulation and distraction. Or we're binge watching shows on Netflix. And I don't even need to tell you about social media and how that's a convenient escape from being alone with ourselves. Admittedly, it's a hard thing to do, to turn focus inward. I think it's easier to watch others reflect on themselves than to turn our gaze inward. Facebook's a great place for us to watch that happen day after day. The bottom line is that if you don't carve out the time for it, you aren't likely to engage in reflective thinking. The second thing that you can start doing that is going to help you engage in reflective thinking is to make sure you remove the distractions that I just mentioned. Reflection time requires solitude, and when it comes to reflection and distractions, well, they go together like oil and water. They just don't mix together. A few weekly roars ago, I spoke about reflection time, and I recommended that you find a place where you can get some thinking done. Move away from the TV, turn off your cell phone, and even get away from other people, and designate that quiet place as your thinking place. It doesn't matter where that place is for you, just as long as you're able to remove yourself from distractions and interruptions. So that's the second thing that you can do. Now, the third thing you can do to help you engage in reflective thinking is to ask the right questions of yourself. A lot of you are coaches like me, so you already know the importance and the power of a properly worded question. Typically, they're open-ended questions because they prompt us to think. When you learn to ask yourself the right questions, you'll start to maximize the value you get from your experiences. The better the question, the more you'll gain. When you spend time reflecting, try thinking in terms of your values, your relationships, and your experiences. But the main thing is to find questions that work for you. It isn't a one size fits all, and that's why I'm not providing a list of questions for you to use in a reflection exercise. Write down the questions that work for you and any significant thoughts that come up for you while you're reflecting. Once you identify those questions, you can use them to evaluate your past experiences in order to glean insights and lessons that can be applied to similar experiences that may present themselves in your future. Now, the fourth and final suggestion that I have for you should come as no surprise. You've heard me probably say this a million times already, but none of this really matters unless you put into action what you've learned. So solidify your learning through action. You can write down all the great things that come to mind while you're reflecting, but if you fail to take action on them, your efforts will be wasted. To do that, you have to be intentional about it. How many of us here have attended a conference or a seminar before, and as we listened to the speakers, we took pages and pages of notes on all the awesome things they shared? Well, I'm pretty sure all of you are raising your hands right now. But what happened when you got home after that seminar? Well, most likely, not a lot. We may love the concepts we hear, but once we close those notebooks, we stop thinking about them. The value comes when we get back home and we actually review, reflect on those concepts, and then put them into practice. We have to take action on that stuff. So there are the four things that you can start doing that are going to help you to begin or to get better at thinking reflectively. First, set aside the time to reflect. Second, remove the distractions. Third, ask the right questions. And fourth, take action on what you've learned. At the end of the day, reflective thinking offers a lot of value to us. It can give us perspective with context. It helps us to consistently stay connected with our journey, and it also provides guidance and direction where our future is concerned. In today's fast-moving world, we're often packed with tight schedules that make days go by like seconds. We're so immersed in the present activities that we just don't take the time to evaluate where we were years or even just months ago. So as we wrap this up today, I want to leave you with a quote by Samuel Coleridge, who said, "There's one art of which people should be masters, the art of reflection." All right, everyone, there you have it. There's the 7th skill that you can assess to improve and become a more effective thinker. Now, for your assessment on reflective thinking, just ask yourself this one simple question. Do I regularly revisit yesterday to gain perspective today in order to think with understanding tomorrow? Go ahead and do your assessment on that one and see where you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, and then ask yourself, what action do I need to take to move one number closer to 10 from where I am right now? All right, now next week, I'm going to talk about the benefits we can gain by simply going against the grain. I know nobody likes to rock the boat, but sometimes we have to go against what might be the more popular thing to do. If you want to hear more about how to question popular thinking in your life, then just come on back to the Lion's Den and tune into the Weekly Roar next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, thanks everybody for supporting me and watching the Weekly Roar today. I appreciate you. Thanks for your comments. Love what I'm seeing over here. I'm going to get back to you if I didn't answer you. And until we meet again next Wednesday, remember, be powerful, but stay poised just like a lion. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching the Weekly Roar live event at lionenterprise.com. If you enjoyed this video, please tell others to join us each week here in the Lion's Den. Thanks again, and see you next week.